A couple is now suing their local school district after the district disciplined their son for using generative AI tools on a history project. Dale and Jennifer Harris are the couple. They allege that the Hingham High School student handbook doesn't explicitly prohibit the use of AI to complete assignments, and that the punishment visited upon their son for using the tool. He received Saturday detention and a grade of 65 out of 100. Basically, they failed him for the project. Has harmed his chances of getting into Stanford University and other elite schools. We're gonna give you more of what the parents say. Just to be clear, the grade harms his chance of going to Stanford, not the fact that he cheats on assignments by using generative AI. That's just my legal commentary, but this is what they say. This is from the lawsuit. The defendants continued on a pervasive, destructive, and merciless path of threats, intimidation, and coercion to impact and derail our son's future and his exemplary record, other than the AI thing. The lawsuit also questions whether using AI to complete assignments should be prohibited at all. It notes that the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education hasn't issued any rules or guidance for schools on the use of the technology. Generative AI is an emerging landscape and its use is here to stay. So the schools responded. They claim that its student handbook prohibits the use of unauthorized technology and quote, unauthorized use or close imitation of the language and thoughts of another author and the representation of them as one's own work, which when you consider the fact that AI is just taking what other people have written, mixing it up, you are using other authors. You may not know which author's words, but it is other authors' words. And so they say that the discipline was relatively lenient and that a ruling to the contrary would invite dissatisfied parents and students to challenge day-to-day discipline, even grading of students in state and federal courts, which I have heard is actually pretty common anyway. It is very hard to actually fail kids. So look, obviously there's a lot of generative AI going on. I think everyone is looking to see what the legal landscape is going to be, but I don't think that the syllabus has to say you can't use ChatGPT to do your project. You're never allowed to plagiarize. You're just not. Like, even if you use sources, you have to cite those sources, and I doubt they're citing ChatGPT or whatever. And so, look, I think it's complex, and I understand that AI tools, largely generative AI tools of a variety of forms, are gonna be a thing that are used. But the issue is that you still have to have the groundwork mentally in terms of your training, your ability to write, your ability to think. And if we start to totally normalize just letting ChatGPT do it, and the only thing that you need to master is prompting like AI, I don't think that's any way for schools to function. But that said, my daughter is not yet in schools. What do you say, Sharon?
I think I probably agree with you, but just being obnoxious and argumentative, I would say the prompts are thinking. You know, if you really put a detailed prompt in there, oh my goodness, but aren't those my thoughts? I want you to act like you are a child care expert and figure out and write me a plan for how to get a little girl to stop taking my phone and paying herself Apple Pay. And it'll pop up something brilliant. I'm the one who put in that prompt. That's up here. And then if you go to the other, I'm just learning this stuff, you go to the other AI thing and say, detect human involvement or something. It'll actually say you wrote this because didn't I? I think it's complicated, but it's a great responsibility that comes with it. They got to come up with something better than you cheated. Kids were going to the encyclopedia before that. And I understand citing sources, Google. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna call up my grandpa. He fought in the war. I'm gonna ask him. It's just, you gotta fine tune this thing, I think. Maybe the lawsuit will do this. These appear to be parents who are just gonna side with their kid no matter what. And that's not good. Okay, I think we get who they are, but I'm just curious. You invent it, you gotta hand it off now to people who can figure out where we exist with it properly.
By the way, I asked ChatGPT about that thing, and there are some things you can do. You can disable Apple Pay for the lock screen, require Face ID for every person. Those are useful things.
Yeah.
And I want to be very clear. I am not altogether against generative AI. I use it constantly to answer questions. I realized I don't know what the difference between French vanilla and vanilla is, and it gave me a great answer.
What is it? Because I like them both, but I do want to know. I think I like regular better.
I don't know.
You don't remember?
But anyway, but it is a useful tool. And Ryu in the chat said, if they're using it to edit their paper or to assist in research, that's fine. I agree. I think it can be used for a lot of stuff. What it should not be doing is generating a block of text that you pretend you produced. And look, when I talk about prompting not being the only thing you need to know, I do think that learning how to prompt these is an important skill that will be necessary. I agree with all of that. Kids also need to be able to write a paper, fundamentally, at the end of the day. And like, if you want your kid to go to Stanford or whatever, Stanford is going to expect that they can write papers. They don't want someone who just, I assume, just generates their papers. So again, there's a lot of nuance here, and different school districts are going to adjudicate it in different ways. But I think the end goal should be kids still need to learn, I think. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.